All right, let's talk about something that most digital brands are just completely sleeping on. But here's the thing, it represents a massive opportunity. We're talking about neuro-inclusive design. And no, this isn't just some nice-to-have feature. It's a critical driver for business growth. Seriously, let's get into it.
Okay, picture this. It's the middle of the lunch rush. You're starving, and you open up your favorite food delivery app. What hits you? Pop-ups, flashing banners, a countdown timer screaming at you. It is just sensory overload, right? Now, for a lot of us, it's just annoying. We sigh, we push through. But for a huge chunk of your users, that experience is way more than just annoying. Like the slide says, that busy interface, it's a wall, a solid brick wall. And what do? They close the app, and poof, you've just lost a customer.
So here's the game plan for today. We're going to start by looking at how we, often by accident, build these digital obstacle courses. Then, we'll put some real numbers on the massive user gap this creates. We'll dig into the science of what's called cognitive load, check out some practical design fixes, and I'll even give you a super simple 4-step audit you can use literally today. And finally, we'll wrap up by seeing why all of this is a huge upgrade for absolutely everyone.
All right, first up, the digital obstacle course. This is all about how our standard design practices, the stuff we often call frictionless, are actually creating some major hurdles for a whole lot of people. And here's the absolute heart of the problem. We design and build our apps, our websites, for this perfect user. You know the one, someone with a laser focus, zero anxiety, and 20/20 vision. The thing is, that user doesn't exist. They're a myth. The reality is, our audience, our actual users, are incredibly diverse in how their brains process the world around them.
Okay, so let's connect the dots here and see how this design philosophy actually turns into a huge business problem. And trust me, this is not a niche issue. It has a real, measurable cost, especially when you look at a market that's digitizing as fast as Bangladesh.
The scale of this is, well, it's staggering. A conservative estimate suggests that at least 15% of the global population is neurodivergent. We're talking about conditions like ADHD, autism, dyslexia, the whole spectrum. Think about that. That's more than 1 in every 7 of your users.
So, what does that 15% actually look like here, on the ground? Well, in Bangladesh, with around 77 million internet users, we're talking about a staggering 11.5 million people. That is a massive slice of the market whose needs are, frankly, being fundamentally ignored by most digital products out there.
And if the number of people isn't enough, let's talk money. Here are the financial stakes. A whopping 71% of users who have access needs will just leave. They'll abandon a site that's hard to use. Gone. But look at the flip side. Look at the reward for getting it right. Inclusive sites see up to a 35% higher return rate. So the choice is pretty clear, right? You either bleed customers or you build incredible loyalty.
Okay, so why? Why do these seemingly small design choices have such a massive impact? Well, let's get into the science of it. It all boils down to this really important concept called cognitive load.
So, what is cognitive load? It's actually pretty simple. It's just the amount of brain power someone needs to use to get something done. And here's the key, it's a finite resource. Every single thing on your screen either adds to that load or helps reduce it.
Here's the best way to think about it. Imagine your brain is like a smartphone battery. Every unnecessary animation, every confusing icon, every bit of corporate jargon, it's draining that battery. And if that battery hits 0 before your user can complete their purchase or find what they need, they're gone. App closed.
Let's make this super concrete. Take a user with ADHD. They often rely heavily on their working memory, which can get overloaded really easily. So what do they need? They need clear status updates, visible reminders, and as few distractions as possible. But what do we so often give them? Auto-playing carousels that steal their attention and voucher codes they have to somehow remember from 3 screens back. It's a total mismatch. It's a direct conflict with how their brain works.
Or how about an autistic user? For many, predictability isn't just a preference, it equals safety. It reduces anxiety. They thrive on consistent patterns and knowing what to expect. And yet, how many e-commerce sites have you seen where the navigation menu just changes location or disappears completely from one page to the next? For them, that's not just a minor annoyance. It can be a genuine source of stress and anxiety, enough to make them leave.
Okay, so we get the problem, we get the science. Now for the good part. How do we actually fix it? This next section is all about the practical, real-world shifts we can make in our design process.
And this table just lays it out so clearly. Let's just grab one. Okay, feedback. The standard way is that vague, kind of blaming error message, right? Invalid input. Useless. The neuro-inclusive way is constructive. Oops, please enter the date as DD/MM. See the difference? One blames the user, the other helps them succeed. Or look at typography. Just switching from fancy justified text to simple left-align text can dramatically reduce reading strain for users with dyslexia. These are small changes with a huge impact.
All right, this is where it gets really practical, I promise. You don't need a massive budget or a 6-month redesign to get started. Here is an actionable framework you can literally use this afternoon. It's called the Bionic Audit.
It's just 4 simple steps that anyone on your team can do. First, the squint test. Seriously, just squint your eyes and look at your screen. Is the main call to action, the most important button, still obvious? Number 2, kill the ghosts. This just means making sure your navigation is consistent. Users should never feel lost or trapped without a clear way back. 3 is the plain speak review. Go through your content and replace confusing ADMs like hit the road with clear instructions like start your ride. Simple. And finally, number 4, the forgiving search. When someone misspells a word in your search bar, does it help them out or does it just throw up its hands and say, no results found?
And that brings us to the final and maybe most important point. Let's completely reframe this entire conversation. This is not about making compromises or designing for some tiny niche group. This is about making a fundamentally better product for every single person. Now you're going to hear people say, oh, this is too expensive, or we can't solve for such a small edge case. But here is the most crucial thing I want you to take away today. There is no such thing as an edge case. When we design for what we think are the margins, we actually end up benefiting a much wider audience.
This is a famous idea called the curb cut effect. You know the little ramps on sidewalks? They were originally designed for wheelchair users, but who actually uses them? Parents with strollers, travelers dragging luggage, delivery workers with carts, literally everyone. The exact same thing is true in the digital world. A clear, calm, predictable interface that you design for a neurodivergent user is also a better experience for a stressed user on a terrible internet connection or a tired parent trying to order groceries late at night. It helps everyone.
So let's just quickly recap the big ideas. Remember, 1 in 7 of your users is neurodivergent. Treat their cognitive load, their mental battery, like the precious, finite resource it is. Build trust and reduce anxiety with consistency. Write error messages that actually help, not blame. And maybe most importantly, you don't have to fix everything at once. Start small with a simple audit.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with the final question I want to leave you with. Take a good, hard look at the digital products you're building every day and ask yourself honestly, is your app a welcoming doorway for all of your users? Or are you, without even realizing it, building a wall? The choice really is yours.